TV was too loud for this. Nonetheless, everyone, welcome to Right to the Table. I'm Aaron King. Tonight, we'll talk about AEW. Not just tonight's episode, but AEW in general. We're going to talk about all the drama with Punk, tonight's episode, the new signing of Commander, Jay White, how he could be a game changer. We're going to try and talk about all that as soon as we can get some more people in here. Just going to give me a minute, guys. All right, y'all, I'm back. Everything was great tonight. Well, I wouldn't say everything. I love the storytelling between Adam Cole and the JAS, Adam Cole and Britt Baker and the JAS. As I should say. Yeah. Let's get some more people in here. I don't know, man. Someone says that Wardlow's pairing with Arn Anderson might lead to a new direction for him. I don't know. Sorry if I seem a little bit tongue-tied tonight, guys. Just it's been a lot lately. Don't want to get into it because it's my personal life. Okay. Let's check Twitter and see what everyone thought of Dynamite. The whole thing with the Cole and Jericho shit is like, it doesn't need to get dragged on until Double or Nothing. until full gear, full gear, I should say. Have the match at DON, and that be it. Now, let me see if I can do something about this light. No. Okay. Let's clear it. There we go. Have the match, as I was saying, have the match at Double or Nothing, and have that be it. Let Jericho move on to something else. One thing I've always noticed with Jericho's feuds, y'all, is that it's always dragged out for like insane periods of time. MJF being a prime example. The whole saga between those two started in September of 2020. Yeah, I think it was September 2020, and it ended in September of 2021. Basically, a full year. Jericho and MJF, they started working together from November until, because Jericho MJF had to have a match in order to get into the inner circle type deal, but they started beefing in March, and the feud itself was 6 months, but the program was an entire year. It doesn't need to be that long. Like, for example, November 7th, 2020, that was the date of Full Gear 2. On that date, MJF defeated Chris Jericho to get into the inner circle. March 7th, 2021 was Revolution. So right there, that's 5 months. 5 months. If like you could say, maybe it's a new maybe it might be a new tag team. They're establishing him as a new tag team. It's MJF. Guy whose character is known for not being able to be trusted as far as he can be thrown. But we always knew that the guy would turn on Jericho eventually. The only surprise was how he turned on him. I honestly thought MJF was going to kick Jericho out of his own group and take over the inner circle. But nope, he created his own. The Pinnacle, which I thought had legs. It had legs. Pinnacle did. But nonetheless, it started. Jericho and MJF then started beefing on March 10th, 2021. That was the night that the Pinnacle was formed. And then, first, it went to Blood and Guts, where MJF won for his team by threatening to throw Jericho off the cage if the IC didn't surrender, which he then proceeded to do regardless, because, hello, it's MJF. Then Inner Circle got their revenge, got their win back at Double or Nothing in Stadium Stampede 2. But as Jericho didn't beat MJF to win for the team, that didn't count for some reason. But Jericho defeated MJF in a way that night. And then we had the 5 Labors of Jericho. Cool idea on paper. Here's how I would have done the 5 Labors of Jericho differently. For starters, MJF himself shouldn't have been the 5th labor. And the pay-per-view, the payoff match where Jericho finally got his one-on-one match with MJF should have been at All Out. It shouldn't have been on a random episode of Dynamite. Now, granted, Jericho and MJF did face off at that year's All Out. And it's marketed as the final fight. Have that be Jericho's prize. Have the All Out match be Jericho's prize for completing the 5 labors of Jericho. Yeah, but as who would have had the 5th labor be? Seeing as how MJF was still aligned with them, I would have had FTR be the 5th and final labor in a handicap match. And handicap match, and I would have had it so like where Jericho has to win in say 10 minutes or less, or he doesn't get the match at all. That's what I would have done. So Jericho wins that handicap match just around the 9-minute mark, and then he gets his match. That would have been made so much. Granted, what actually happened was better storytelling, but that's just the way I would have done it. I just don't think like a big payoff match should be like on a random ass episode of Dynamite. But to be fair, it was cool where MJF said that Jericho couldn't have music. It was cool when the Houston fans sang him out. Sorry if I keep looking back. Cat's making noise. I have 2 cats. So nonetheless, that's just how the whole thing lasted just about a year. Between MJF and Jericho. Yeah. Like, look at MJF's feud with Cody, for example. That was the perfect length. Yeah. MJF turned at Cody at Full Gear, the first Full Gear in 2019 in Baltimore. I was there, by the way. Okay. MJF turned on him. The stipulations were perfect for someone like MJF's character. I know you're probably wondering, how does this tie into Jericho? Well, I'm getting there. This perfectly ties into MJF's character. Cody not being able to touch MJF until Revolution. And Cody having to face and beat Wardlow in that cage match. And Cody having to take 10 lashes. The not touching thing, that was kind of okay. But the cage match itself, dude, Cody made Wardlow look like a damn demigod in that match. And the 10 lashes, to be completely honest, was actually in my opinion, the most emotional segment in Dynamite history. I don't think that Dynamite would have ever had, in terms of emotional segments, 10 lashes with Cody still ranks as number 1. They tried to recreate it with him and Wardlow, but it just didn't click. But nonetheless, though the MJF's feud with Cody is a perfect example of how long Jericho's feud should be with Adam Cole. 5 months. It's not almost an entire year. Have them have a match. Have Jericho and Adam Cole have a match at Double or Nothing, and then boom, move on from there. Have Jericho, have Jericho beef with Jungle Boy. I don't know, and move Adam Cole up that world title ladder, because we all know if anyone's beating MJF for the title, it's going to be Adam Cole, and it's not going to happen until at least Full Gear. Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. You think MJF's losing the Triple B before November? No way. Let's check Twitter. Yeah, and let's talk about the main event. The ending to the main event, I should say, because I couldn't watch the end of the main event because I was away from my TV doing something. But nonetheless, yes. And another thing. I don't know. You never really know what's the story behind who's running WWE, who's head of creative, all this little bullshit. Yeah. But I see fans going back and forth on every social media platform there is AEW fans and WWE fans go back and forth over many bullshit, over a whole bunch of bullshit. But one of the things is the disqualification and count out finishes. WWE fans want to rag on AEW fans, and it's for praising count out and DQ finishes. And it's just when AEW does it. But when we criticize WWE for doing it, they want to call us biased. Difference between AEW and WWE when it comes to those type of finishes, disqualification and count out finishes, WWE does them just to do them. When AEW does it, there's actually sense and meaning behind it. Like look at what Punk did to Shawn Dean when his thing with MJF. Yeah, the bell rang. Punk hit Captain Shawn Dean with the GTS, got MJF disqualified. And that was the beginning of the year of 2022. As Shivani so eloquently put it, he was 0-1 to start off. Yeah. Right on. Look at tonight. MJF trying to be a sneaky, cowardly, really chicken shit heel. You know, absolutely leveled Jungle Boy with that Dynamite Diamond ring, and knocked him clean out, and had Sammy Guevara win via countout because he was afraid that he didn't want Jungle Boy to move on. Made sense. Look, another countout. All these countout disqualifications involve MJF for some reason. Another thing, again with Captain Shawn Dean, it was done to further MJF's storyline with Wardlow, and Captain Dean benefited from it for a time being. Yeah, like as Wardlow was terrorizing MJF, he had MJF running all throughout the ring while the match was still going on. Bryce Remsen was at a count of 9. MJF was like, wait. But I'll triple whatever TK's paying you if you don't count me out 10. I'll triple it. Then Bryce thought about it, and then he was like, no, 10. And then the bell rang, and everyone was chanting. I think that was the first time in like quite a long time where everyone was chanting for a count out win. I don't know what the hell I just did there, but nonetheless. So, that it's another thing. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. The thing that's been the elephant in the room since September. The lingering stench of one Philip Jack Brooks. Better than CM Punk. All I'm going to say is this. If if you can get 85% of the roster to not work with you, to not want to work with you, don't you think that it might be because of you? Just saying. Not 85% of people don't want to work with you just because they all of a sudden decided they don't like you. You had to have made them act that way towards you. For example, Mox, according to my friend Tyler, who I hope shows up soon, according to Tyler, Mox doesn't want to work with Punk. Do you know how much of an a-hole you gotta be for John freaking Moxley to not want to work with you? Do you? Or do you not? I don't know, man. I don't know. Hang on. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's see what Twitter wants to talk about. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't know. Laptop's been acting like a. That was my fault. Sorry that I'm keep pausing so much, guys. Pausing on so much, guys. It's just that I'm not ashamed to say it. I work better with people in here with me. But another thing is Christian Cage and Luchasaurus confronted Wardlow after he became TNT champion. I'll touch on that. I'll touch on the TNT title subject in a bit. But the thing is, I don't know who's going to challenge Wardlow for the TNT title. Is it going to be Luchasaurus or Christian Cage himself? That's what I'm confused about. I will say, however, Christian Cage is the perfect mouthpiece for Luchasaurus. A Luchasaurus TNT title run, I would not be mad at. If anything, I think it could do one. If anything, I think it might do wonders for his career. Brody Lee, God rest his soul, the greatest TNT champion of all time. Yeah. Look what Brody made that title mean. Cody and Brody, I should say. He made that championship mean something. So, a title win for Luchasaurus would absolutely help him. That is, of course, if they ever decide to stop flip-flopping the damn belt. Like, for God's sakes, you crowned the new champion tonight in Wardlow. Great. Yay. Good job. Keep it on him until at least All Out. Please. No. I'm going to make... How long? Who had the longest TNT title run? I'm genuinely curious. Hold on, y'all. I'm looking at something. Longest reign is Darby Allin's first. Darby Allin had his first reign. He had the title for 186 days, which, according to Wikipedia, is the longest. Have Wardlow beat that. Have Wardlow beat that by like a couple months, and then have Luchasaurus win it. Because just hot potato in the championship ain't gonna do the title any good. No, it ain't. Now let's talk about this whole BCC and Elite saga. The Elite came out. They said, hey, BCC, we want to settle this like men, get out here. And who should appear on the Tron but one Mr. Brian Lloyd Danielson? And he basically calling them amateurs and how they didn't deserve to be in the ring and all this other stuff. And not real. Running down the Elite, and the Elite standing there just shaking their head, not realizing that the BCC was creeping up on them until it was too late. The BCC had the upper hand at first, but then the Elite were able to turn it around. I said, you ain't beating us around this time. But then the BCC got the upper hand back. Heck, and they had Omega all held down, and held up and ready to. And when Danielson was sort of sticking with that screwdriver, but then came down Callis. Actually, Callis came before it, but Danielson even out of the ring. He was like, "Nope, be right back." Heck. And then Don Callis knew that Danielson would run on Pittsburgh and Omega down some more before, so he took that flathead screwdriver out of his jacket, was getting ready to carve a little art on Omega's head, until here came to name a seemingly hesitant Konosuke Takeshita. Wheeler Yuta said, "Hey, you know what? We'll beat this guy down too." But no, Takeshita, with one forearm, was able to knock Brown on his ass, and Takeshita said, "You know what? Okay, let's roll. Let's get these motherfuckers." Helped the Elite significantly, and sent the Blackpool Combat Club scurrying. Another thing, I just touched on this match earlier, a 4 Pillars tournament. I was initially all excited for a fatal 4-way between the 4 Pillars at Double or Nothing. Still think they should do it All Out. I don't know if they should do it All Out, but they should do it somewhere down the line. Yeah. But I like this. Darby, Sammy, Perry, and one Mr. Friedman. In case you didn't know, those are the 4 pillars of AEW. But I'm perfectly cool with it being a one-on-one after MJF just worked a 60-minute Iron Man, a 65-minute Iron Man match. Yes, it was 65 because of overtime. The initial 6 minutes and then a tie, so. And that's also what started Danielson's heel turn, so. It was speaking of that Iron Man match, that was MJF cemented himself as a future legend that night. So seeing as how Sammy defeated Jungle Boy via countout, Darby has to be winning and facing MJF in Vegas, right? I would assume so. Mm-hmm. If you look at their match at Full Gear from 2021, it opened the show, but it was honestly match of the night. Well, no, it wasn't. The Super Click versus Jungle Boy Luchasaurus, and Christian was the match of that night. But MJF and Darby Allin was a close second. I will say, if they do decide to do Sammy versus MJF heel versus heel, who do the fans get behind? Because we know the AEW fans hate Sammy's guts. And we know that with MJF, it's kind of like a love-hate. So call me crazy, but if they do decide to do Sammy versus MJF in Vegas, I think the general viewing public is going to be leaning more towards MJF. But that's just me. You know what? I think I'm going to end it right here. Because I'm getting sleepy and I have no patience. See y'all next time.